Okay, in this one we're going to talk about center mass, shooting center mass, or target availability. Now here's what you want to be aware of. Most tactical cops are trained for tactical use, and so is the military. You shoot at center mass. Why am I shooting at center mass? Because if my target is here, if I aim for the center, it gives me the largest variance of miss. So if I'm aiming here and I'm off 2 inches, I'm still going to hit my target. If I'm aiming here and I'm off 4 inches, I've still got a chance to hit my target. The more the center I am of my target, the more room for variance if I'm off, if the wind, if I jerk my trigger, if I do any of the, lose the fundamentals, I can still hit my target. If I aim for the shoulder, and I hear a lot of that, why aren't cops trained to shoot for the hand or to shoot the gun out? Because the odds of missing are so high that we don't want to miss. We want to shoot with the most accuracy to where we can get the biggest target. You shoot for the center mass. If you're off in any way, you're still probably going to hit the target. If I got my hand out here and you're shooting at my trigger finger and you miss, now I know where you're at. Now you haven't inflicted any pain on me, and now I can re-engage you with no harm, no foul, because you missed. You want to hit your target. I don't care if you hit your target on the corner of an elbow or whatever, you definitely want to hit your target. And the best odds and the best way to ensure you hit your target is you shoot at center mass. Now what people confuse that with is what is shooting at center mass available. They kind of leave out that term when they're teaching this a lot. So a lot of people will always tell you, always shoot center mass. Where is that? That's the center of the chest, center of the nipples, center of the belly. Anywhere in that spinal line, that's where I want to shoot, because then if I miss up, down, or sideways, I'm still going to hit my target. That's true. However, if your target is small, I want to shoot. If I only got a headshot and I can only see the head, I want to shoot at the center of the head. I don't want to try to take the ear off. I don't want to try to nick his other ear or nick his jaw or knock a tooth out. I want to shoot for the center of the head, same concept, because it gives me the biggest area for if I'm off on my target. So, now, another reason for that is if you're point shooting or you're engaging a target quickly and you come up, I want to be on the center mass available with that target. So I don't want to have to worry about shoulder, other shoulder, foot, knee. I want to come up without any target, not using my sights at all, and just come to center mass. I'm straight on center mass, I'm straight from the body, I'm coming straight out and I'm engaging the target for the center mass. I'll probably hit my target. So, center mass available. So, if a person is standing like this, center mass available is probably going to be here, here, here. Any one of these spots. If you start going to center of the knee, that's not the largest area. Now there's too much room to miss if you try to go for my knee. If you try to go just for my groin, there's a lot of area you can miss below. So, shooting here gives me a good variance circle. Shooting here gives me a good variance. Shooting here, if you go all the way around, I got some open space here. So I lose target ability. So center mass is center mass available. So, if I am behind this thing here and you see me stick my head out with a gun, you are shooting at center mass available. So whatever you can see right now, you're shooting at the center of my head, whatever is here. If you only got half my face, well, you're shooting at the center of half my face. So understanding what center mass means and shooting at center mass available, if you concentrate on that, you reinforce it every time you shoot a target. Sometimes I'll fold a target in half and I'll make you shoot it. And people will still shoot at the center of the target as if it was open. And I'll see all the shots right here on that half target. I go, what are you doing? Well, if that was a body, I said it ain't a body. Center mass of availability. If I'm standing like this, you have to shoot at center mass. Obviously, my center mass here is more than maybe my center mass here or here at the neck area. So it's center mass available to you. If you only have a hand, you're not shooting at a finger, you're shooting at center mass available. So understanding that and reinforcing that thought process when you're at the range and you're engaging targets, I'm always shooting at center mass, whether it's here, here, or whatever. Okay, this gun's a little far back there. Ooh, had a bad grip there. I don't know if you noticed when I grabbed back there because I wasn't used sitting down and it cocked this gun back. So drawing in a sitting position, I need to realize I need to come back behind the gun. Also, you notice I'm lasering myself. A correct draw would be here. We talked about laser in other vehicles. And I do shooting where you're on the ground and you have to shoot, and you have to actually come up and shoot between the legs or shoot over your head behind you. When doing those things, you have to be aware on how you're lasering and where your gun is at. Sometimes it's unavoidable. You may have to laser yourself and you shoot yourself, but ideally you want to always be aware of not lasering yourself. If I'm laying here and my gun's here and I have to get the gun over here and I'm in a life or death and I'm hurt, I don't really care if I laser my leg if it's going to save my life and I can get a round off. So, but for practical purposes, you always want to be aware if you are lasering, it needs to be a conscious thing on your part that you realize you're doing it and it's not subconscious. You don't want to subconsciously laser something without tactically thinking. That's the best move. You know, a lot of safety rules for range and things that I'm teaching you are great for a perfect condition and they're great for training. But in an actual situation, there really is only one rule to win. Get your gun off before he gets, put hits on the target before he can. So we talked about center mass available. Now I'm going to talk about what's called the fatal T or the fatal triangle. Now, the fatal T has a couple of different meanings, and some people use them. It used to be the fatal T was if you drew a line straight across the eyebrows and right down the center nose in the head, that is called a fatal T. Basically makes a T. If you put a round in that fatal T, you normally have a drop shot. Others say the fatal T goes across the eyebrows, but it comes straight down the head, straight down the neck, straight down the spine. Because if I can get a target straight down that stem of that T, I'm going to disrupt the spinal cord. And if I disrupt the spinal cord, I'm going to take away my chickens are putting pressure on me. Easy, boys. Lucky they're not armed. So the fatal T, keeping that in mind when you engage a target, you want vital organs, you want center mass. The other reason for the center mass of the chest area is I've got all my vital organs here. I've got my lungs, my heart, liver, spine, all my stuff is in here. I've got major, and the spine's in the back. So if I can hit any of those, I'm good to go. If I'm shooting at shoulders, elbows, and everything, I may take out a limb. More likely I'm going to miss. But if I do hit, I'm taking out a limb, which doesn't stop my guy from running, from picking up another gun. There's a book called Tactical Edge where they show a picture of a guy. It's an old book. It's old now. It didn't used to be. It used to be, I think Caliber Press puts it out. Caliber Press has training seminars. They usually do pretty good on tactical things. They train a lot of cops. If you can get to one of those, it's probably worth your time and money. But in this book, it shows a guy who was shot like something like 30 or 40 times with a 9mm. I mean, he had holes all over him. 4 cops were shooting at him, and he was still able, I think, to kill a couple cops and get off a lot of rounds. And until they had a proper bullet placement that disrupted the spinal cord or that dropped him, he was still able to engage the target. Which is why when we start shooting, you're never going to see me teach one round. Nobody should be teaching, in my opinion, one round shooting. You should never draw your gun and go, bang, and stop. One round doesn't stop people. All times, if I have to shoot somebody, it's a double tap. I've been doing it since forever. It's instinctual. You'll never see me engage either a paper target or a real target with one round. It will always be double tap. Bang, bang, as quick as I can get them off. If I could set my gun to where it fired 2 rounds when I squeeze the trigger, I'd do it. Because I want 2 rounds, and the closest I can get those 2 rounds, the better. The bigger hole, the bigger blood loss, the quicker, the more my odds are to drop that person. So, understanding that fatal T, or they call it the fatal triangle, if you put a triangle on a person's head, anywhere that you hit in that triangle, you're normally going to kill them. You put a round in the ear, the jaw, anywhere where you can put a round in this triangle is normally a kill shot. Now, if you want if a person has a hand on the finger or the trigger of the gun, they say the only way to do that is sever that spinal cord right there where it connects. I forgot the technical term. I'll try to put it in the description. But if you sever that, all muscle things feast. The drop, you can't pull the trigger. If you shoot a person somewhere else, the pain itself could cause them to yank that trigger, clench their fist, and fire that trigger. So that's why when somebody has a gun to someone's head, you have to really make sure you have a clean shot to where you know you can drop them. But they're using, that's why snipers use a very high velocity round. Even if they miss the spinal cord, that secondary cavity that we talked about in other videos is going to explode and expand that spinal cord all the way. So you don't have to hit a little bitty spinal cord. You just got to come close enough to it to where your secondary cavity can do it. And if you've got a fast, heavy, traveling bullet, it's going to take it out whether you hit it or not. So, What is the fatal triangle and how does that comply? You're shooting for center mass. You're shooting for that spinal cord. If you got a shot in a guy's back, you want to shoot here. If I got a shot in the rib and I'm pretty close, I would rather shoot toward his spine area than toward his front belly area. Because the belly area, the bullet may go through his belly. That's not going to hurt as much as if I get in between his rib cage here and I take a rib out, I take a lung, I graze the heart, I graze the spine. Knowing with the body of the person that you're shooting, and a lot of my stuff is for tactical survival, so it's more about people, I want to know what I'm shooting at, what I can hit, and what are my best odds are to take a person down. And to me, the best odds are the spine, the head, or the pelvic area. The pelvic area will drop them, but it won't necessarily kill them, but it will cause blood loss and definitely take out their ability. I'm at 11 minutes. So, again, my main targets, there's a drill that I'm going to be showing later when we start shooting is, they call it the Mozambique because they used to shoot people in the head, and I think it was Mogadishu, or maybe it come out of maybe Mozambique is another place, but any country that would shoot people in the head, it was called the Mozambique, is the kind of trial it was kind of labeled, and that's called a headshot. So most cops, most tactics, most military are trained to shoot 2 in 1. If I tell you to do a 3-shot drill 2 in 1, that means a double tap. So I'm going bang bang to the center mass body. Hi, Mr. Chicken. So bang bang to the center mass body, and then the last shot is to the head. What that does is it forces me to get my first 2 rounds off quick. If the person has a vest on, body armor, or protection, and he doesn't fall, then I'm going to move to the head area till I know there's no protection, and I'm going to make that shot count. The first 2 double taps, bang bang, will be pretty quick. But there should be a pause between that headshot because you're moving to a smaller target and it needs to be a good accurate shot. So normally a double tap sounds like bang, bang, bang. So there's a little bit of a pause between it. It shouldn't sound bang, bang, bang because you're more likely to miss. If it sounds that quick, the person didn't settle down and make sure he's got a good headshot. And that's called a Mozambique drill or a failure drill or a body armor drill. Now, they also teach, because the headshot is so small, the failure drill to go 2 to the body and then 1 to the pelvic area. The pelvic area has this large bone here, and when you take it out, if you got a good bullet, it's going to drop, and it's like, you know, it's like knocking down a house of cards. Once you take one side out, he goes down. If he's on the ground, obviously he's a non-moving target, then I can place my bullets wherever I want. Just because a suspect's on the ground does not mean he can't kill you, does not mean he will stop trying to kill you, and does not mean you should stop trying to stop him. If he's moving and he has the ability to shoot you, then you should keep engaging that target until all the threats are removed. That's really going to be key in mindset. A lot of shooting, a lot of tactics, a lot of what I'm trying to express to people out here in a tactical situation is about understanding the mind, the body, how it's going to react, your heart rate, how you're not going to hear things, how you're going to be shaken, how you get that adrenaline pump from your fight or flight, how all those things come in, and you need to be thinking about all these tactical decisions. Am I behind cover or concealment? Do I have a center mass that I can hit, or do I have 2 less of a center mass? Can I shoot for a center mass that's hidden? Just because my head's out behind that hay bale up there, if my head was right there on the edge, that doesn't mean I couldn't shoot right in between that bell and try to hit your body behind it. So if I understand cover and concealment, if I understand my bad guy thinks he's behind cover, but he's actually, what time is it, 13:50? If I can do this real quick. There's an actual shooting to where a guy had it on videotape where a cop had his ticket book out here, and he's talking to the suspect. Suspect draws a gun on him, and the cop takes his clipboard and puts it in front of the gun, and he's doing this. And the guy's trying to go, he doesn't shoot through the clipboard, he'd still kill the cop. He tries to get around the clipboard while the cop is moving his clipboard, he's able to get his gun out and engage the guy. Because mentally, that guy wasn't prepared to shoot through it. He kind of thought like a kid. If there was something in front of me, I can't see it, I can't shoot it. He couldn't think that quick because he was in a high risk. He was about to shoot a cop. He was in an engagement of his life. He wasn't thinking clear. He had lost muscle mass. He'd lost ability to think about minor things. He was in survival mode. And he just couldn't bring himself to shoot through that clipboard, which gave the cop enough time to draw his gun and engage the target. Saved his life. But you know, because the suspect wasn't prepared, he lost that fight. I don't want you losing a fight against a bad guy. So we'll talk about more of this later. Hope that helps on cover, concealment, and other things. We'll end that there. Buddy, Miss T, you're good boys.